Hello everyone, my name is Reg Joshua Navarrete from BSAU 1A, and today I'll be discussing the topic given in reading in Philippine History Museum and Historical Shrines. Objectives. After the discussion, learners will be able to define museum, differentiate museums and art galleries, enumerate the list of museums in the Philippines, learn the historical landmarks and UNESCO sites. Museum. A museum is an institutional that takes care and conserves a collection of artifacts and other objects are made available for public viewing through permanent or temporary exhibits. There are many types of museums such as art museum, natural history museum, science museum, war museums, and children museums. The National Museum of the Philippines is a government institution and serves as an educational, scientific, and cultural institution in preserving the various permanent national collections, featuring the ethnographic, anthropological, archaeological, and visual artistry of the Philippines. Since 1998, the National Museum has been the regulatory and enforcement agency of the national government in the restoring and safeguarding of important cultural property sites and reservation throughout the Philippines. Museum versus art allergy. Museum and art allergy are both places to see and experience art and artifacts. Both institutions showcases temporary exhibit in their halls or rooms. But what is the difference between museum and art allergy? Museum ownership, universally public non-profit entities. Purpose: to collect, preserve, research, and protect artifacts and other objects, as well as provide social services and education. Collection: maintains a permanent collection of artifacts and objects. Focus: mostly universal unless specified by the museum's name itself. Accreditation: government by trustees and a board of direction, as well as a director and staff government by the rules of accreditation set by AAM in the US. Funding: often partially funded by local, state, and federal grants, as well as solicited gifts and donations from private donors, from foundation and companies. Further funding comes established endowment for collection in most cases and mission to pay for operating costs. Location: special places when constructed or erected for purpose, or the place edifies itself as historical significance. Art gallery. Ownership: a private owned business. Purpose: primary purpose is to sell arts collection. No permanent and collection or endowment. Focus: has a specific art focus. Contemporary arts galleries becomes brand representing a certain aesthetic point of view. Accreditation: not governed by the rules of accreditation set by AAM in the US. Funding funded by the sale of art objects. Location: often located in commercial places and establishment where there is better potential for sale of arts objects. List of the other museum in the Philippines. Manila: Bahay Chinoy, Casa Manila, San Agustin Museum, National Museum of the Philippines. Malacanang Museum, Metropolitan Museum of Manila, Museum of Contemporary Arts and Design, The Museum, UST Museum, Museo Pambata. Pasay: CPP Museo ng Kalinanga ng Pilipino and Asian Traditional Musical Instrument, GSIS Museo ng Sining. Makati: Ayala Museum, Yuchenko Museum. Pasig: Lopez Memorial Museum. Quezon City: Ateneo Art Gallery, George B. Vargas Museum and Filipiniana Research Center. Taguig: Mine Museum, Cebu. Palina Constancia Museum, P9 Art, Aurora. Baler Museum, Nueva Ecija. Provincial Capitol Museum, Fred's Art Gallery, Benguet, Bencab Museum.
Good day, and this is our part 2 of our topic, which is the historical landmarks and the UNESCO sites. The UNESCO, or the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, has designated 6 World Heritage Sites in the Philippines. The UNESCO World Heritage Site are places of importance to culture or natural heritage as described in the UNESCO World Heritage Convention. So these are the 3 cultural sites and 3 natural sites. Number 1 is the Baroque churches in the Philippines. Number 2 is the historic city of Vigan. Number 3 is the rice terraces of the Philippines Cordilleras, which is in the cultural site. And on the natural site, we have the Mount Hamgitan Range Wildlife Sanctuary, the Puerto Princesa Subterranean River National Park, the Tubataha Reef Natural Park. The pictures of the cultural sites, which is the Baroque churches in the Philippines. Number 2 is the historic city of Vigan. And number 3 is the rice terraces of the Philippine Cordillera. And on the other hand, the pictures of the natural sites, which is the Puerto Princesa Subterranean River National Park. Number 2 is the Mount Hamgitan Range Wildlife Sanctuary. Number 3 is the Tubataha Reef Natural Park. So we have also the tentative list. And these are the list of the 19 more sites in the Philippines which are being considered for nomination. On the cultural site, we have the Paleolithic Archaeological Site in Cagayan Valley. The number 2 is the Kabayan Mummy Burial Cave, the Butuan Archaeological Sites, the Baroque churches in the Philippines, which is the extension, and the petroglyphs and petrograph of the Philippines. And the last is the Neolithic shell maiden sites in Lal Lo and Lal Cataran municipalities. And then on the natural side, you have the Batanes Protected Landscapes and Seascapes, the Chocolate Hills Natural Monument, the Mount Malindang Range Natural Park, the Mount Pulag Natural Park, the Apu Reef Natural Park, the El Nido Taytay Managed Resource Protected Area, the Coron Island Natural Biotic Area, the Mount Iglit Baco Natural Park, and last is the Northern Sierra Madre Natural Park and outlying areas inclusive of the buffer zone. So we have now the pictures of the 19 tentative list of the natural and cultural sites of the Philippines. The number 1 is the Tabon Cave Complex and all of the Lipon. The Tabon Cave is complex and all of the Lipon Point is located on the west coast of Palawan. It is located on a limestone promontory which is visible from any direction for many kilometers and honeycombed with at least 200 caves and rock shelters. Number 2 is the Paleolithic Archaeological Site in Cagayan Valley. So Paleolithic sites are located within the Cagayan Valley Basin, which is the border by the Sierra Mountain Range on the east, the Caraballo on the south, the Cordillera Central on the west, and the Babuyan Channel on the north. Found in 2 municipalities of the province, namely Solana and Penablanca, Paleolithic sites yielded the early stone tools and remains of extinct and extant species of animals. So, number 3 is the Kabayan Mummy Burial Cave. The Kabayan is one of the municipality of Benguet Province in the Cordillera Mountain ranges of northern Luzon. The municipality is recognized as a center of Ibaloy culture. The Ibaloy, the dominant ethno-linguistic group of Kabayan, have a long traditional practice of mummifying their dead. Individuals from the higher social stratum of the Ibaloy of Kabayan used to be mummified through a long ritual process over a long period of time. Number 4 is the Butuan Archaeological Site. In 1975, as a result of a construction of an extensive network of large drainage channels, significant amounts of archaeological artifacts were discovered that dated back to the age of contact with the great traditions of Asia, coeval with the Yahweh type wares to Ming dynastics of ancient China from the 10th century to 16th century. The major finds various airy areas appearance of the remains of the large open water going boats, the Balanghay of historical records. The boats ranges age from 10th century to 13th century. So number 5, we have the Barak Churches Philippines extension. So number 5, we have the Barak Churches of the Philippines, which is the extension. Number 1 is the church complex of the Patrocinio de Maria, Boloon, Cebu. Number 2 is the Church of La Immaculada Conception, Guinan, Samar. Number 3 is the church complex of San Pedro Apostol, Lobok, Bohol. Number 4 is the church complex of San Isidro Labrador, Lazi, Siquijor. The last is the church of San Matias, Tumaoini, Isabela. So now let's go to the number 6, which is the petroglyphs and petrograph of the Philippines. These petroglyphs are animate figures interpreted as representing juveniles or infants of a rock face in a rock shelter. The shelter is located in the southeast of Manila, 3 kilometers from the town Angono, and some 235 meters above sea level. So let's go now. Number 7 is the Neolithic shell maiden sites in Lalo and Gataran municipalities. Neolithic shell maiden sites are located along the banks of the Cagayan River in the municipality of Lalo and Gataran, about 500 kilometers northeast Manila. The shell maidens are made up mostly of one of the freshwater claims, Batisa Childrene. The biggest deposit of the shells are found in Magapit and Bangag in Lalo. As sites, we have the Batanes Protected Landscapes and Seascapes, and the Chocolate Hills Natural Monument, the Mount Malindang Range Natural Park, and the Mount Pulag Natural Park, and the Apo Reef Natural Park, the El Nido Taytay Managed Resource Protected Area, the Coron Island Natural Biotic Area, the Mount Iglet Baco Natural Park, the Northern Sierra Madre Natural Park and outlying areas inclusive of the buffer zone, the Mount Mantalinghan Protected Landscape, the Mayon Volcano Natural Park, the Turtle Island Wildlife Sanctuary. And those are the 19 tentative list of culture and natural sites. And that is the last part of our topic. And thank you for listening and have a good day. Thank you.